You guys, we really appreciate it. Thank you
Carrie,
so much.
let me say, this is a shockingly great crowd.
They are amazing.
Shockingly great.
Shockingly great. You guys are amazing. Aren't they amazing, Stephen A?
I must admit, I am impressed. I am impressed.
That's a big deal. To get an I'm impressed?
I am impressed.
It's a pep rally in here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the topic. You guys all know about Josh Gordon. I actually heard someone mention to you when we sat down, would we talk about Josh Gordon? Unfortunately, the Browns wide receiver flunked another drug test. This time, though, it wasn't the weed, as Stephen A. would say. He did not pass because it was alcohol related. The flunk test is the latest in a long line of setbacks for Gordon. Is the subject of a 1-year suspension. So we have a long list. That's this Josh Gordon timeline. Stephen A., earlier this season, we thought he was not going to come back because of obviously flunking a drug test. They redid the NFL's policy, and he only missed 10 games, and then he missed the very last game for his bad behavior. So what is your take on Josh Gordon in this latest incident?
Well, my take, number one, is just because he wasn't caught on the weed does not mean that he should be absolved. I am not in support of Josh Gordon receiving a 1-year suspension. I am in support of him receiving a 1-year ban.
Okay.
The difference between a suspension and a ban is that a suspension is finite. You'll be suspended for this length of period of time, and then after suspension is over, you get to come back. Banishment usually means that you are banned for at least that period of time, and then after that, we need to look into where you are before we decide to let you back in. That is more severe. I think he deserves it. Why? Because Josh Gordon clearly has a problem. Whether it's the weed or it's alcohol, I don't think that any of those drugs are worth $5 million plus, which is what he was getting paid. If you want to sit there now, in fairness to Josh Gordon, let me say this. Alcohol, I have a different take on. Here is why. Because the NFL deals with alcoholic companies. You sell it. You use them to market your sport. You market their product. Okay? So it's kind of hypocritical, to sit there and have Budweiser commercials or whatever, Heineken, whatever you want to come up with. Oh, I don't know who they are, these beer distributors. And then you sit there and you're marketing that stuff. And then when somebody gets caught with their hand in a cookie jar, using that product that you use and profit off of it and use to market their product, if somebody gets busted with that, it's kind of hypocritical for you to then come back and be like, well, you weren't supposed to do that. Okay? But it is what it is. And I'm a big proponent of this, and Skip allowed me to say this to the young, particularly young men, because women just appear to be smarter than us. The young men out there, let's be clear about something. I'm dead serious about this, because I had ignorant folks calling up my radio show on Sirius XM and beyond, talking about, well, what's the big deal with weed, alcohol, whatever the case may be. In the case of weed, it's legal in 2 states for medicinal purposes. You can use it in 23 to 26 states. It's illegal in the NFL. If your employer mandates that it is something that you cannot do, and you want to receive a paycheck from these people that at least sustains, if not elevates your quality of life, then you have an obligation, just like every citizen in this country, to abide by those rules. Stop trying to find excuses to skirt around it. Josh Gordon, whether it's because he can't help it, or because he chose not to, violated those rules, not once, not twice, but at least 3 times, and we ain't even bringing up college. It's time for his butt to sit home, plain and simple.
Okay. Quickly about your alcohol point, the league markets alcohol. Remember, Josh Gordon had a DUI. Josh Gordon was under a 0 tolerance policy to either drink alcohol or use drugs. Okay?
Right.
So that was part of his policy
That's
that he
right.
violated.
Yep.
And I don't think the NFL is advocating driving while under the
I certainly am not accusing the NFL of that.
Okay,
Absolutely not.
Okay,
You're right.
Got it. Now back to my feelings. I am tired of feeling sorry or feeling sad for Josh Gordon. I have said many times on the show, I've gotten to know him a little bit. I like him. You know how I feel about him, Carrie? This is a sharp kid off the field. This is an enormous talent on the field. I'm to the point this morning, I'm about to think he's a lost cause. And I'm going to go a little deeper, and I'm not going to dwell on this, but I spent a lot of my childhood around Alcoholics Anonymous and alcohol and drug rehab because so many members of my family and extended family were involved in those. And this is what I learned from all the sessions I had to sit through, that my perspective of the life of the alcoholic or the addict was very, very different than their view of the world. So when I tried to impose my view on my father and think, oh, you got so much to live for. You got good kids here. You know, we're all doing pretty well in school. Your wife, she's a beautiful woman. What's the problem here? He was never happy unless he was drunk. And I'm to the point where I'm starting to think that Josh Gordon is not happy unless he's high or drunk. And I've dealt with a lot of people like this. And you say, my God, look at the fame and fortune you're throwing away in the National Football League. Do you know how many of these people would love to be you? Everybody, we'd all love to be you. And he can't see that because his thinking is so warped right now that he says, no, that doesn't make me happy. I'm much happier when I'm high or I'm intoxicated. I've seen it before. Trust me on this. Until he personally hits so bottom, he so bottoms out that he says, my God, I got to get a grip. He's not hit bottom yet, and I'm not sure he will, because some of the alcoholics and the addicts, they never hit bottom until they're gone, man. And so I'm to that point where I'm thinking, could he just be your classic lost cause? Hard for me to understand, hard for you to cope with, but maybe that's where his head is.
Well, I have a different take about that. I'm not refuting because you, with what you've always blessed us with in terms of your knowledge of the situation, because you had to deal with your family, and we all applaud you for being open about that. You know, I'm from the world where, you know, punishment serves as a strong deterrent. I'm quite sure that as happy as Josh Gordon is when he's drunk or high, if he couldn't afford to be drunk or high, I think that would be unfortunate. And I think that's be something that he'd find that unfortunate. So it's one thing when you say that he isn't happy unless he's high or he's drunk, keep in mind that he has the luxury of feeling that way because of what he can afford. But if you take away his ability to afford it, and he's got to scrimp, save, or cajole, or rob, or do whatever it is that he got to do to get his hands on stuff, then that's an entirely different matter altogether. See, we live in a world where, and this is what I call, for you, Kerry Champion, you can appreciate this, and I say this affectionately, but at the same time derogatorily, we live in an Oprah-fied society.
What do you mean?
And what I mean by that is we always have to find an explanation for stuff. And what I'm saying to you is that, listen, I'm a friend of Gayle King. I love her dearly, Oprah's best friend. I met Oprah on a couple of occasions. Who can't admire Oprah Winfrey? I love her dearly. But my point to you is this. I get tired of there being an explanation. There are some things as parents or whomever, there are some things we're going to explain. And then there are other times when it's like, look, damn it, because I said so. You understand? This is the way it is. An explanation is not required. All of this feel good. But what the hell do you want next? A pedicure or manicure? The Cleveland Browns gave this dude over $5 million. You said he got Hall of Fame talent. We all know he's been on the show. Nice guy, good-looking young man, got a lot of promise, the whole nine. And whether it's the weed or alcohol, you can't chill when millions are at stake. I am not feeling sorry for you anymore. You have to handle your business. This man's thrown away. And last point, Skip, Kerry, some of these athletes are quick to tell you it's not just about themselves, it's about their families. Sometimes that pressure is a little bit too much. I get that. But the point is, ultimately, what you have garnered, what you have earned, what your gifts, your God-given gifts have reaped for you is the ability to provide for loved ones. Look out for loved ones, not just yourself. So when you throw it away, you're throwing their stuff away too. So the very people you claim to care about, evidently you don't care about enough. So why am I going to feel sympathy for you? Enough's enough. I'm tired. the level of patience that we show in our society for these guys that throw away their future, we've been doing it for years. You've been doing it for decades. You're doing it. I'm doing it. Enough. Maybe, just maybe, if we're a little bit heartless, you'll get the message. Enough! Enough!
So what do you mean by I don't understand?
He needs to be banned. He needs to be banned. Listen, I'm mad that the NFL hasn't banned him already. I know that we're still waiting for the official results, but I'm just saying, the minute it comes down, as far as I'm concerned, if the results come in at 11 o'clock, by 11:01, he should be banned for the year. Enough!
Okay.
Enough!
All right.
Do you know?
Enough!
Have we lost sight of how many times this kid has failed?
No, I have a whole list here.
We're up to what, 8 or 9 times?
This ain't 3 strikes.
Yes.
He's failed and then said, I'm clean. I clean myself.
And
no,
then-
you didn't.
But by the way, it goes back to college. We're not even.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The man has struck out more than 4 baseball players.
All right. Hopefully, and we've been saying this, and we always wrap the conversation when we discuss it because he has been on the show. Josh, if you are immature, he needs to grow up. It's serious.
Okay, make no mistake, Skip, Kerry. Oh,
Yes, go.
his boys, his friends, teammates, contemporaries. Oh, they'll look at us. Oh, you guys are wrong. You
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Really?
They said that. They
It's
said
us.
that. They
It's
said
us. It ain't you. Oh, no, it can't be you.
We leave it here.
That's the problem.
When we come back, we're talking about
Please.
the late gate, you guys. Give it up.
Please.